We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Nea Mangawang, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines, the U.S. and Philippine militaries launched a major exercises Monday aimed at fighting global terrorism. At least 13 people died and nearly 150 have been hospitalized in central Cambodia after drinking contaminated liquid. And Thailand and Singapore joined the world in the worldwide walk to fight poverty. The U.S. and Philippine militaries launched major exercises Monday aimed at fighting global terrorism while staying mostly quiet on Beijing's reported installation of missiles in the disputed South China Sea. The annual maneuvers are the second to be held under Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. The 12-day exercises began less than a week after U.S. network CNBC reported that the Chinese military had over the past month installed anti-ship and air-to-air. Last year, Balikatan focused mainly on honing humanitarian responses to the Philippines' frequent natural disasters. This year's terror focus comes after Islamic State group supporters seized the southern Philippine city of Marawi in May last year, triggering a 5-month battle with U.S.-backed Filipino troops that killed some 1,200 people. The U.S. and Australia have pledged to provide more training and assistance to Filipino troops. Most of the 5,000 Filipino troops and 3,000 U.S. counterparts taking part in the maneuvers are from Special Operations Units, who will train in mock urban terrain to respond to crises and calamities, either natural or man-made. Australia and Japan are also sending a total of 42 military observers to Balikatan. Meanwhile, Chinese Premier Li Keqiang said China is committed to a peaceful settlement with ASEAN nations of bilateral disputes over the South China Sea despite differing views. Mr. Li made the remarks yesterday after talks with President Joko Widodo at Istana Bogor in West Java in his first visit to Indonesia as premier. Mr. Li spoke in Mandarin and his remarks were translated into English and Bahasa Indonesia. The talks included discussions on regional security and China's Belt and Road Initiative projects in Indonesia. The leaders agreed to increase economic cooperation, with Mr. Joko stressing that it is vital for Indonesia to increase exports to China. Mr. Joko also said that China will step up imports of a range of Indonesian goods, including palm oil, cocoa, swallow's nest or edible bird's nest, and fruits such as dragon fruit. Mr. Li committed to increase palm oil imports by at least 500,000 tons a year. Indonesia, the world's largest palm oil exporter, sold 3.73 million tons to China last year. Mr. Li's visit also marked the 5th anniversary of a strategic comprehensive partnership between the two Asian giants. Chinese Premier Li Keqiang on Monday pledged to jointly promote trade and investment liberalization and facilitation with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN so as to inject positive energy into the world economy. Li made the remarks while addressing a celebration ceremony of the 15th anniversary of the China-ASEAN Strategic Partnership at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta, capital of Indonesia. At the 32nd ASEAN Summit and related meetings held in Singapore in late April, leaders of ASEAN countries agreed to work towards an early conclusion this year of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership or RCEP, a free trade agreement or FTA scheme of the 10 ASEAN member states and its FTA partners, namely China, Australia, India, Japan, South Korea, and New Zealand. In his speech, the Chinese premier also called for substantive breakthroughs made in the negotiations on the RCEP. China and ASEAN countries are all beneficiaries of free trade, Li said, adding that it is in line with their common interest to safeguard multilateralism and the international trading system. Prime Minister Lee said China is ready to work with ASEAN countries to promote the early completion of the RCEP, build the East Asian Economic Community, and promote trade and investment liberalization and facilitation so as to inject positive energy into the world economy. He said the importance of cooperation between China and ASEAN has gone beyond the bilateral scope and has increasingly become the support and engine for maintaining regional peace and stability, as well as promoting regional common prosperity. The Chinese premier said China has always put ASEAN as a priority for its foreign policy with neighboring countries and stood for friendly cooperation with ASEAN. On a lighter note, the Voyager of the Seas, one of Asia's largest cruise ships operated by American global cruise company Royal Caribbean Cruises Limited, is now back in Southeast Asia for her longest running program from now until June 2019. The ship will be making a combined total of 74 calls to Kuala Lumpur, Port Klang, Penang, and Langkawi over 66 sailings. 4,269 guests offers a variety of activities and entertainment exclusive to Royal Caribbean, such as the Royal Promenade, a boulevard of duty-free boutiques, ice skating rink, and a full-size sports court with a flow rider serve, a simulator, and rock climbing wall. Moreover, there is a 3-tier theater and the DreamWorks entertainment popular with guests of all ages, which features celebrity characters such as Shrek and Fiona of Shrek and Po of Kung Fu Panda in parades, character breakfasts, and photo opportunities. And for gastronomical delights, there are numerous dining options on board. ASEAN in Focus will be right back. Please stay with us.
Welcome to the garden. A world that recaptures the value of life, creating your moments, kindling your passion, worth reliving over and over. This is your world, your life, your garden.
Landmarks, Linggo, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi.
Welcome back. Officious mudslinging, allegations of voter fraud, and sabotage have marred a hard-fought campaign for Malaysian elections in which scandal-plagued Prime Minister Najib Razak will take on a heavyweight ex-leader. Najib's ruling coalition has governed Malaysia since independence from Britain in 1957, but is facing a tough test at the polls due to a challenge from a former insider, veteran ex-Premier Mahathir Mohamad, and the 1MDB financial scandal. The government is expected to win, partly helped by a healthy economy. However, critics say gerrymandering and electoral abuses have also been used to tip the scales in Najib's favor. But the surprise return of 92-year-old Mahathir at the head of an alliance filled with parties he crushed during 2 decades in power has shaken up the race, giving the opposition a charismatic standard-bearer they hope can topple Najib. A Malaysia expert from the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies of Nanyang Technological University in Singapore, Yang Razali Qasim, said that this is the most unpredictable general election in Malaysia for years. He said Mahathir's comeback has been a game changer. It reversed the political fortunes of the opposition and shook up the entire political landscape. The high stakes have prompted a brutal campaign in which Najib and Mahathir have relentlessly hurled insults at each other as they raced up and down the country for rallies. Mahathir has run down Najib, his one-time protege, lambasting him over 1MDB and taking aim at his wife Rosma Mansour, whose reportedly spendthrift habits have made her unpopular. Najib has hit back, criticizing Mahathir's authoritarian track record when he is in office. Meanwhile, Amnesty International says the next Malaysian government needs to prioritize human rights and avoid repressive tactics ahead of election on May 9, where scandal-tainted Premier Najib Razak faces a tough challenge from his former mentor Mahathir Mohamad. Take a listen.
Most of the time, human rights are like an add-on agenda. It's never been incorporated into any plan. So we hope that we can do this from the beginning rather than an add-on in the future.
As Malaysians head to the polls, they will do so in a country where the space for freedom of expression has shrunk alarmingly in recent years. In the run-up to elections, the government passed a new anti-fake news law that appears designed to stifle debate online. The definition of fake news is so vague that it could encompass virtually any criticism of the authorities, and those found guilty face up to 6 years in prison.
Yeah, there's a track record in Malaysia where cartoonists or rally organizers are either being questioned or being charged in court. So there are a few. The definition of a fake news in the act itself is too broad. It can be easily for anybody who peacefully criticize the government or the authorities. It can be like basically anybody who criticize anyone can be easily charged or under the Anti-Fake News Act.
Now, Amnesty International has published a human rights agenda ahead of the vote, outlining 8 key human rights issues that parliamentary candidates and those elected to the next government must prioritize. These include the rights to freedom of expression and association, better protections for refugees and people seeking asylum, and abolishing the death penalty. Heading over to Cambodia, at least 13 people have died and nearly 150 have been hospitalized in central Cambodia after drinking contaminated liquid, health officials said Monday, blaming either home-brewed rice wine or water. The deaths began on May 3, rocking 2 villages in the poor rural Shatpori district of Kreti province. The provincial director said they are still working to know the real cause of the incident. According to the Ministry of Health, samples from local rice alcohol found high levels of methanol, which can be very toxic. But officials were also awaiting test results from water samples. The ministry warned villagers to stop drinking rice alcohol and to take extra care over the hygiene of their food and water. Cambodia is one of Asia's poorest countries, and health and safety standards are virtually non-existent outside of the major cities. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned.
Whoever they are, and wherever they may be, they all have the same message. Mata ng Agila, Mondays through Fridays, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Only here at Net 25.
Welcome back. One of the Asean countries where the worldwide walk to fight poverty was held is in Singapore. To recall, on Sunday, May 6, the charity walk was conducted to benefit poor communities in several countries in Africa. This is the second worldwide walk of the church members that aims to help impoverished communities. The first one was held last February 2014, which benefited victims of Super Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, particularly in the province of Leyte. EBC's Hazel Colosso reports from Singapore.
The Church of Christ members in Singapore join its brethren all over the world to walk and fight poverty today here in the Grand Lawn West Coast Park, Singapore. At this venue, over 2,500 members participated in the 6 time slots that have been arranged to accommodate the expected big number of participants from the local congregations in Singapore. Many of the members arrived very early as the first time slot started at 6 in the morning. As always observed to the Church of Christ members, the participants in this country were also seen to be timely, cheerful, and very well organized.
The objectives of this kind of activity that the church administration launched is especially to fight poverty. And because of its noble aim, the brethren completely united with the church administration, and The truth is that before this day, few weeks before this, there are devotional prayers which was held in every local congregation here in Singapore.
Though this is the second time that the Church of Christ has done the worldwide walk event to fight poverty, many of the members still created new experiences to remember.
These are a second experience joining the Worldwide Walk. The last time he was just a mere 3-month-old. And now that he's a 4-year-old kid, he gets to really participate. And prior to this, we told him that we will be having a Worldwide Walk this Sunday, which is today. So he's actually programmed and looking forward to it.
This is the EBC special coverage of Worldwide Walk to Fight Poverty here in Singapore. I am your correspondent, Hazel Coloso, and I am one with 25.
Meanwhile, in Thailand, different nationalities from different religions joined the Worldwide Walk to Fight Poverty, which was held there simultaneously with Manila. Here's Cristel Mapa to tell us more.
A backpacker's paradise in Southeast Asia, also known as City of Angels, famous for its flavorful food and a budget-friendly travel destination. Bangkok, Thailand is one of the sites included in the Worldwide Walk to Fight Poverty, launched by the Iglesia ni Cristo or Church of Christ. This global activity conducted by the church aims to fight poverty and also a Guinness World Record attempt. Bangkok, Thailand, one of the 44 countries that participated in a charitable walk hosted by the international religious organization Iglesia ni Cristo or Church of Christ in cooperation with Felix Y. Manalo Foundation. Its members from various local congregation and group worship service in Thailand's metropolis marched together in Rangsit University to be part of a Guinness World Record attempt, the second worldwide walk to fight poverty, joining other members of Church of Christ around the globe, led by ministers and church officers. Families and individual members of District of Southeast Asia 1 came early in unity to take part in the said historical event, for they know that this worldwide activity will greatly benefit communities that are impoverished in providing food and medical assistance.
I think the work is so exciting because being an African and the work is all about elevating poverty in Africa. It's going to be so amazing and helpful to our African countries, those ones who are suffering in poverty, and this work is a work that's going to help them. So we are feeling excited and we feel happy about it. We ask that let it continue always like that so that we can be able to help our brothers.
Well, what I can say and describe about the unity of the members of the Church of Christ here in Thailand is that they are enthusiastic and that they are zealous in participating in this kind of activity. And what we have promised to our beloved executive minister is that we will always be with them, we'll always one with them in every project and in every activity that they launch in the Church of Christ. And we will continue to do this in the future or in the time to come, that we will maintain our true unity with the church administration. All members of the Church of Christ who promise to come and participate in today's worldwide walk to fight poverty are with us today, and they're eager and they're willing to continue to help Brother Eduardo V. Manalo in their campaign in whatever project and activity that they will launch in the Church of Christ.
I am so grateful with the cooperation and unity of the Christ Church members.
Actually, I've seen the other works or charity, but the difference with this one, we are seeing a different continent, struggling to help other brothers in a different continent. Passion, the love that they have, the care. They are trying to share the small that they have with others. So that's very good, and we are blessed for that. Thank you very much.
About this event, I'm really proud to be part of this, because it might be one of the biggest work in the world to fight poverty. And I know that poverty is a big issue in many parts of the world, but especially Africa, which is a developing continent. And I know that church is very useful in the world for helping those who need. So this is very good. And actually, Christian church is very important for me. I'm not part of Church of Christ because I'm Catholic, but I think it's always important to join together. And I see all this love together with people who come from all over the country and elsewhere in the world. They all join together for one cause. And it's also against violence, because when you see so many people loving each other, it's very nice. And I've never seen other projects organized by church in such a big proportion. So this is the first time for me, and especially in foreign country, and I'm proud to be part of this.
I'm very happy and proud is to enjoy activity. I think this one a good activity and good organized. People exciting, will go on time, and so happy. And this activity I would like to do again, because make people help people. I never been to see it. I just read in the newspaper. Wow! When they invite me to witness, my name Dr. Keqiang. Oh, I would like to enjoy it. Tonight, the last night I cannot sleeping. I exciting to help it. I wake up 2 o'clock. Okay, night to do the activity look like this. Good. Thank you.
For the Worldwide Walk EBC special coverage, reporting from Bangkok, Thailand, this is Crystal Napa, and I am 1 with 25.
And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Nea Mangawang, always 1 with 25.
Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
The highlight of this academic year has finally arrived. Today is the day of rejoicing the success of a completed educational journey. Today is a quest for a new future that is coming. Today, our fellow Arians commence.